All your base art belong to us.
You're listening to Gamers Digest, a podcast where your hosts put the controllers down just long enough to talk about gaming news, rumors, and anything else they can think of. Here are your hosts, Spider-One and Mr. Factastic.
Welcome to Gamers Digest. Hopefully we sound much better than we have in the past.
Can you hear me? Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah, don't hit the mic, because that thing is like hanging on by a thread.
Yeah.
So, we are Gamers Digest. We are a gaming fan podcast, video cast. We talk about gaming news, rumors. We go off on rants, like I'm probably going to do tonight.
Yeah.
We also do reviews and previews, although we haven't done any of those recently.
I think the move kind of just put a little, spin on things and kind of threw us off our game a little bit.
Next week I'm going to Next week I'm going to review Battlefield 4, but I'm going to talk about it a little bit tonight. But I did play that a good amount this week. I did finally sit down and, try it out. I played halfway through the campaign, and then,
And you said you liked the campaign so far.
Yeah, the campaign actually surprised me. Like, I played Battlefield 3's campaign, and it was...
Were there any typos in the, do you have the subtitles turned on?
I haven't noticed any.
Okay. Yeah, the Battlefield 3, there were, a lot of typos.
Yeah, I haven't noticed any, so, but it...
Shame on you.
It's pretty good. I also did, some StarCraft. Me and a friend played against each other, and I found somebody who's not as good as me, so that was a good confidence booster.
Cool.
At one point, I split my units in two groups to, do, a flank attack, and I was so amazed with myself that I actually pulled it off.
Nice.
I'm, banging the keyboard, doing all kinds of stuff just to make sure that, two groups of Zerglings go where I want them. And the whole time I'm like, man, these pros have, 5 groups. They're dropping stuff over here, they're building a new base here, they've got, 3 groups over here. And I don't know how they do it.
I don't know. It must be something in their brain.
Yeah, I don't know. So, what did you play this week?
I actually played some FTL.
Going back to it, huh?
Yeah, I mean, after we talked about this story last week with the new edition coming out, I think next year, something like that, where there's a new edition coming out, and that just made me want to play it again. And I installed it at the work computer, and I didn't play during work.
Should you? Yeah, I was about to say, should you be divulging this information?
Well, I mean, it's all right, because I spend so much time there on hours and off hours that I mean, it's pretty much my computer anyways. So it's something that I can play when I've got some downtime and I'm not working. So yeah.
So you still haven't fired up Diablo 3, huh?
I have not fired up Diablo 3. I've been waiting. I've been faithful to my brother. He said that he wanted to get it, and we'll play it together. It's the only reason why I even bought the game. So I know I'll be seeing him next week, and then I can finally get on him to hurry up and get the game. But it's sitting there waiting. So Diablo 3 soon.
So last Friday, PlayStation 4 came out, and neither one of us waited in line for it. So I'm very proud of us.
Yeah, especially it being the cheaper one.
Right.
So
yeah, I was thinking about because we live right next to a Target.
Yeah.
I was actually thinking about getting up early Friday and just going to stand in line because last Friday for the PlayStation there was only 7 or 8 people in line. I mean, which is still kind of crazy for a Friday morning, but it wasn't as bad. I remember when the PS3 came out, we drove around that night, and there were, lines of, 20 or 30 people deep at, Best Buy and stuff like that, people waiting in line for it.
Yeah.
So, maybe there isn't that much demand for them yet.
Or because they went super crazy with the pre-orders.
Right.
That maybe they aren't too worried about it.
Right. Yeah, that could be. I mean, a lot of people who really wanted them could have pre-ordered it. I have 2 friends I have 3 friends that got them. Well, I got one that's getting an Xbox for free because he won the Mountain Dew promotion. But I got 2 friends that actually got PS4s, and they pre-ordered them, and they had no problems with it picking it up. One of them had a problem playing it, which I didn't do the news story on it, but apparently there was a lot of problems launch day with PS4. There was a big day 1 patch for PS4, system patch, and those are never good because apparently that patch was literally authorized 4 days before the console came out. So there was a lot of problems and stuff. There's actually been a few hardware problems too. They're calling it the blue light of death. Like,
Oh, jeez.
basically the system will start up and just like a blue light will blink. So
That's not good.
that's not a permanent problem. It's not like the red ring of death. Sony has put out a fix for that,
Okay.
and they put like a walkthrough on how to basically recover your console from that. And they
Okay.
said it's not widespread, but it's enough that they have
Yeah.
to address it.
And I'm pretty sure when the Xbox comes out, there'll be little hiccups here and there, but
Because they're pushing out a day one patch too.
Mhm.
Like all of the 180, like all of the Xbox 180 stuff is in that day one patch.
Yeah, that's
that
true,
disables the the always online, the Kinect, stuff like that. The eye on the Kinect still has to be connected though. Like you still can't unhook that. So
yeah, it'll be interesting. By the time we do our next show, it'll be an interesting show. Just maybe we can compare the launches. Maybe Xbox One will sell like 2 million units or something.
yeah, because this is our first news story. PlayStation put out that they sold over 1 million units in the
Yeah.
first day,
Yeah.
which that's a lot of hardware. Like hardware goes quick
Mm-hmm.
when it's new, but there's usually not that much of it.
Yeah.
Like the fact that they were able to push out 1 million units in the
They
U.S. only,
They were prepared.
right?
I think with all those pre-orders they were selling, they were prepared. Hopefully, we won't see any Wii shortages like we had before.
I think there'll be a shortage on them until after Christmas, and then I think the stock will go up.
Yeah, let's hope.
I think I don't think it's going to be like the Wii where nobody has them ever,
Mhm.
and people are getting like 3 or 4 in at a time, every 3 weeks or something. I think places will get them regularly,
Mhm.
but they're still going to sell them because obviously they're still the
Yeah.
hot ticket this year.
Yeah.
That's what everybody's talking about. Nobody's like, oh, I need to get that Wii U.
Mhm.
They're like, I need that Xbox or PlayStation.
Yeah. Exactly.
So
Speaking on the system front, a limited edition white Ouya has been unveiled.
yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, it has double the
Mhm.
storage in it.
With 16 gigs.
Oh boy.
Wow, it's
Ooh.
$130 instead of $100.
Yeah, I mean, if you're interested in the Ouya, I'd probably spring for the better edition.
Mhm.
I did see it at Target the other day.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did see it there. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then I went and finished shopping.
then you-
There was I'm excited about the concept of the Ouya,
Mhm.
but like everything I've seen software wise, it's like a Nintendo. Like there's no good games for it.
Oh, ew.
So
Yeah, that seems like something that I would just get an emulator and install it on there.
well, anybody who has an Android phone has access to 90% of the games.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that big of a deal. But it's cool that there's an open source console out there, and I think down the line people will start to do more cool things with that. So
Yeah.
Final Fantasy X / X2, I guess that's how they want you to say it. The remake of those two games for PlayStation 3 finally got a hard release date. Unfortunately, it's in March 2014.
Yeah, it got pushed back. That sucks.
Yeah.
And on the article, they mentioned that the Vita, they didn't hear about the Vita version yet. So far, that's still slated for this year,
Yeah.
which is a little weird.
I'm guessing that'll probably be pushed back.
Yeah,
too.
exactly. I mean, it's coming out December 20th. It's supposed to come out December 26th.
Yeah.
So that might be pushed back.
It looks really cool. Like everything I've seen from it, the graphical overhaul is insane. So
Oh yeah, big time, big time.
yeah,
I'm watching the video.
I'm still looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm.
Tryon Worlds, the guys who made Rift and also made a failed RTS that never made it out of beta, announced their next MMO. It's called Trove, and it's a voxel-based MMO.
Mhm.
It's almost a lot like, in fact, it's exactly like Cube World, which I showed off.
Yeah,
a while
that's what I
ago.
thought it was when I was looking at the screenshots. I was like, isn't this that game that Curtis was playing?
Yeah, it's very, very reminiscent of it. So
Mhm.
they're actually taking a little bit of flack from it because people are like, this is kind of just like all the other voxel MMOs out there. So we'll see what Tryon does with it. I mean, that was their
Free to play.
early announcement.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Free to play.
So
State of Decay
yeah.
expansion's coming out. I never played the State of Decay. I remember you did. A new expansion's coming out. It's called Breakdown. It's coming out November 29th. It's gonna cost $7, I believe. $6.99.
yeah, that's not bad.
So you get new characters and stuff. Blah blah blah.
New story, everything that comes
Mhm.
with the traditional DLC.
Mhm.
also the same day for State of Decay fans is System Update 4, which is free, and that's going to fix a lot of bugs. It's actually going to change the way some things work in the world.
Cool.
Just to make it make a little more sense. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I played a good amount of State of Decay. I never beat it, per se.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a lot of fun. It's actually on PC now, so that's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, it got Steam greenlit or whatever. So
Very cool.
Abduction. Yeah, this is that story we talked about from the Myst creators.
Mm-hmm.
They hit their Kickstarter goal of 1.2 million.
Nice.
If you could hit 1.2 million,
that'd be sweet.
but you don't have the legacy of Myst behind
No,
you.
I don't.
I'm actually really interested in this. Like, I'm glad that it hit its goal because, we talk about various Kickstarters for games, and we're like, yeah, that'd be cool. But at the end of the day, like, would we really have gone out of our way for Mutant League Football?
Nah.
It's cool to see it back, but I'm like, you know. Whereas Abduction, I'm really interested in. Like,
that seems like a game that you will have like that depth that you need.
The pedigree behind it.
Exactly. Pedigree. That's the right word. Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, that and the Mighty Number 9 are really the only two Kickstarters that I've ever been like, yeah, I really want to see this game. Like, there have been other ones that I'm like, yeah, that's cool,
Interesting.
I would back that maybe, but I didn't back this one. I may actually, just throw in like the $15 to get the game early, which was that tier. So
yeah, that's really cool. This was another cool story. The Battlefield 4 Commander app available for iPhone or no iPad.
iPad only. Yeah,
iPad only. So you basically control. You can see the battlefield on your, and then you just. It'll help you assist as a commander.
Basically, anybody who's not familiar with Battlefield 4, most people know it's a shooter. So you're down in the trenches, you pick a class, you go shoot some guys. What most people don't know is there's also a commander mode where one character, if you're a high enough level, which I think you have to be level 10, which isn't too high, you can sign up to be a commander. And what you actually get is like a grid layout of the battlefield, and you can assign like attack points, choke points, stuff like that, where your troops are supposed to go. Okay. Now, obviously, it's up to the individual people to do that.
Yeah.
But the nice thing is, like, the commander can, also do drops and stuff, so you can drop vehicles, weapons, stuff like that.
That's really cool.
If you, say you're playing Conquest mode and there's A, B, C, D, and E, say you need them to attack C. If you designate C and they actually attack it and take it, everybody gets a bonus. So it's definitely in the team's best interest to have a commander, A, that knows what he's doing, and B, just to have one.
That's really cool, man.
So
you're selling Battlefield 4 for me right
now.
So
this app is cool because say you're screwing around at home and you don't want to sit down and play Battlefield 4, or you're doing something like sitting on the toilet and you're like, oh, I gotta hop into Battlefield 4 and get some stuff. So you can load up this app, hop into a server as the commander, and right there on your iPad, you'd be like, all right, you go to C, you go to E, I'm going to drop a vehicle here, and you're racking up points that way. So
that is cool.
That's like the ultimate out-of-game experience.
Yeah, that is cool. Sucks that you only have to do it on iPad.
Yeah, they mentioned, I went back and did a little research on it. They mentioned that they want to bring it to Android tablets. It's just going to take a little more time.
Okay.
But it is a free app, so, if you have Battlefield 4 and an iPad, I'd definitely check it out.
Yeah.
So, because it also plays well if you're in the game. Like, you can, you set your iPad there and you can see a layout of the battlefield and stuff like that. So you don't got to keep hopping back and forth towards the map and stuff like that.
Very cool. I want to play Battlefield now.
Yeah. You need to get it on the computer.
Yeah, true.
You need to get a computer
first, yeah.
Well, you got the first part. You got the case.
Yeah, that's true. I do have the case now. You want to Minecraft developer is working with Microsoft to port the saves over to Xbox One because Minecraft has been announced for the Xbox One.
And everything else ever.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big deal because people have created these whole worlds and stuff. And on computer, it's not a big issue because you just, it's on a server somewhere, so no matter where you have Minecraft, you can access it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not like that. It's like a local save that people have to log into. So it's cool that they're working for this because, these Minecraft people put, thousands and thousands of hours into this.
Yeah.
So, oh well.
Yes. 38 Studios. We mentioned them last week. They have a date finally for their IP. Yeah, they do have a debt. Yes, they have a date for their auction for all their IPs, and that is going to be on December 11th.
Yeah, and they actually said, like, you know, we always say Amalur, which I actually fired up Amalur and played it a little bit. I basically made my character and screwed around for a minute or two in the tutorial, and then I had to go do something.
Nice.
But they also have Rise of Nations, which is a pretty popular RTS. Like, it was never as big as StarCraft or Total Domination.
No.
But it was fairly popular. They actually found a full completed game that was never released for the Rise of Nations. Basically, it was in the catalog, and then they went under. So we may see that come out. I think that's one of the things that kind of like halted it, and why there's so much interest in it. Because there's basically this, you know, mostly completed game. They actually said completed, but you know how games are now.
Yeah.
They always need some fixing or something after the fact.
Day one patch.
Right. So, yeah, I think that is probably what's driving the interest more than the Amalur IP.
Okay.
I think there's some interest in the Amalur IP, but I think it's that whole Rise of Nations thing being completed that kind of drew that in. Destiny, the shooter MMO hybrid from the guys who made the original Halos, Bungie, is getting its beta on PlayStation first. And that's PS3 and PS4. So they basically just said it's kind of like they're exclusive. So
I thought this was an interesting choice, and I mean I like the idea that they're putting this game out on, you know, all the consoles instead of just sticking to one. It is interesting that they chose Sony's consoles first. You know, it kind of makes you think where they're going to put their ducks in a row.
I'm sure it's money. Like I'm sure.
Yeah.
Sony was just like, you know, we want exclusivity, and they're like, well, we don't want to give you that. How about we give you beta? And they're like, okay. Because
with Call of Duty, all the new Call of Duty stuff comes out for Xbox first.
I think all the Battlefield stuff comes out for
Battlefield 2. Yeah. So maybe we might see something like this for Destiny, but maybe the other way around,
right,
in the future.
The thing that I'm wondering about is, I know that obviously it's not going to be cross-platform, like Xboxes won't play with PlayStation.
Yeah.
But I wonder if PlayStation 3s will play with PlayStation 4s, and Xboxes will play with Xbox Ones. I'm just kind of wondering about that because, like we've talked about the disparity between Xbox Live and PlayStation Network, like the users. That seems to be less of an issue with this coming generation, because everybody that I've talked to about the new PlayStation Network, which is still the same PlayStation Network, but obviously for the PlayStation 4, have said that it is much better. Like the new voice integration and stuff. They said, like, you know, this is not the second fiddle network. Like this one can be the primary network.
Okay, cool.
So I'm wondering if they're going to be inter-platform, I guess is what the best way I could say it. Because, you know, not many people are going to be playing on PlayStation, and this is definitely an MMO. Even though it's a shooter, it's an MMO. So you're going to need people to play with.
Yeah. That would be cool, man.
Yeah. I'm sad this one's not coming to PC. Like, of all the games that they've announced over the past year,
Destiny
this is probably the one that I'm sad it's not coming to PC.
I thought it was. Or that was Titanfall.
Yeah.
I'm thinking.
Titanfall, I was excited to find out it was coming to PC because I was like, oh, one less game I care about on the Xbox.
Yeah. Huh.
So.
New Uncharted's coming to PS4.
It's hinted at. Oh. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much confirmed, but they haven't really said anything. And there was kind of like a teaser trailer, and I couldn't find a good enough version of it to put on the show. But you can search like the ones that they debuted, because they debuted it at like Spike's PS4 launch event.
Okay.
So there's like screen grabs and people off screen and stuff, and but it's like one guy who's basically talking, and he's talking about all the Uncharted universe and stuff that's going on in it, but it's clearly not Drake.
Okay.
So it's interesting to see what they'll do with it, because I think they're done with Drake.
Interesting.
So
interesting.
The Last of Us Story DLC, the first one, is coming early next year. It's going to be part of their season pass.
Mhm.
So another game that offered a season pass and waited like a year to put out DLC for it, just like BioShock.
Yeah, that's crazy. And what's interesting is that this is a prequel.
Yeah.
DLC where you play as what was her name? Ellie.
Ellie. Yeah.
Ellie before she got bit.
Yeah.
You know, so that would be interesting to see how that unfolds.
Yeah. This if you played Last of Us, it takes place when she's palling around with her buddy
Mm-hmm.
during the outbreak and afterwards probably before up until she gets bit.
Yeah. Bit.
So.
So very cool.
Yep. Last piece of news: Oddworld New and Tasty, which is a remake of Abe's Odyssey, will be out early next year for PS4, PS3, and Vita. So PlayStation exclusive still. And it's cool. Abe's Odyssey was really cool.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Hello.
All right. So my discussion topic, and I know this is kind of a quick show, but
Mhm.
there wasn't a whole lot of news.
Yeah.
My discussion topic, like I said earlier, is going to be kind of a rant. Like, obviously, I've been playing Battlefield 4 for the past week, but I haven't really been playing it.
You've been dying.
I've basically been like a meat shield for most of it, because the problem with modern military shooters is, and this is actually why I always liked Halo better, you're definitely not on even footing with other people. It's not. I hate to say it. It's almost like an MMO. Like it's not entirely skill based. If people have better guns, better stuff, better add-ons, stuff like that, you're dead in the water. I mean, there's nothing you can do. Like Battlefield 4, unfortunately, is like one of the worst offenders. Like even the early Call of Duty games up until recently, and they did switch it for Ghosts, which I'll talk about the comparisons in a second. But they gave you guns that functioned. Like, if you got a sniper rifle, you at least got like a 2x zoom, something like that.
Yeah.
Battlefield 4, like, I was trying to play the Recon class, which is the sniper class, and they give you a sniper rifle, which is bolt action with iron sights.
Yeah, it's rough.
It's almost non-functional. And the next gun you get, you have to get 10 kills with. So, not only do they give you a non-functional gun, but they gate it behind something that they're like, okay, you have to be insanely good with this non-functional gun to get 10 kills. Like, I played probably 15 games, and with that gun, I've probably gotten 5 kills. And, I'm not the greatest Battlefield player, but, when there's enough bodies to shoot at, I got to get lucky eventually. But, like, that's the problem. Like,
that is hard. That is tough. Like, now you can start to see some of my frustrations in there. Like, especially when, like, I'm trying to, like, get some of the little trophies or achievements. It's like sometimes I had to give up. It is unfair. It's like not all classes, weapons, characters are created equal. Especially when you jump into that game. I mean, it's like you're better off grabbing somebody else's weapon after they're killed.
Pretty much. I mean, that's what I resorted to, and the problem with that is, then I don't get my unlock. I get points, and I can get other unlocks, but if I want the next sniper gun, I have to get 10 kills with that sniper rifle. As far as I've been able to tell. I may be wrong on that, because I've only gotten like 1 or 2 kills with the other sniper rifle.
If it is, if it's the way Battlefield 3 was, I think you have to use that exact weapon.
Right. So, the way that you're supposed to get around this is they have these battle packs, which you buy with real money.
Real money.
After you've bought this, $50, $60 game.
This is EA.
Now, I was a defender of this in Mass Effect. Like, I had no problem with the battle packs in Mass Effect. But there's a main difference between Mass Effect and Battlefield.
Yeah.
Mass Effect, you were killing computers.
Yes.
If you wanted an advantage in that, you weren't hurting anybody.
Yeah.
In Battlefield, there is a distinct advantage. If you have a sniper rifle with a 10 times zoom that can punch through a wall, and I've got a sniper rifle with iron sights, who's going to win that fight?
Who's going to win
10 times out of 10?
Yeah, who's going to win that? It really isn't fair. I remember, like, there were some times where I would just pick a class and just use a certain weapon that I was just felt good with, and I wouldn't really use anything else. I'd like peak or I'd plateau.
Right.
Because like, okay, I'm good with this weapon. I'm not really gonna try to unlock any new weapons. And when I did unlock new weapons, like they would suck so bad that I don't even really want to use them to get further along in the hierarchy.
Right.
So yeah.
Now Call of Duty Ghosts. Previous Call of Duties were the same way. You had to level up a certain amount before you got guns, and that was stupid too. Like at least Battlefield breaks it down into classes. Like Call of Duty, it used to be, you had to be level 48 to get this really good sniper rifle, and if you wanted to snipe, you had to wait till level 48.
Yeah.
Battlefield at least breaks it down by classes and weapons. So there's a little bit of a break there, but they still should at least give you something functional to begin with. Call of Duty Ghosts actually circumvents that a little bit, and they give you what they call, I think they're called squad points, and you get them throughout the game no matter what you're doing, and you can just purchase stuff with those. So say you want a gun that you would unlock at level 48. It costs 15 squad points. So once you get 15 squad points, no matter what you're doing, and you can get squad points for, doing stuff that you're supposed to, capturing flags, defending something, stuff like that. Sometimes non-combat related. Then you can buy this gun.
Cool.
So you can, and the same thing with the perks, because Call of Duty has the whole perk system and stuff that Battlefield doesn't have. Battlefield's more like gadget related. And I think that's a good idea, but I still think that's not really fair because, again, you're still starting with nothing. I think what they should do, and I forget what game did this, it might have been Black Ops, but they gave you like a trial period. Like you could try a certain gun for a certain amount of time, and from there, you had a decent gun, and if you were good with it, you could rack up enough kills to get another decent gun to start with. So it was almost like renting a weapon.
That's
so
cool.
I think they need to move away from this. The longer you play, the better you get, and move towards more of like a maybe an aesthetic thing, kind of like that's why I like Halo so much.
Yeah, because you can set which weapons are in the match and stuff like that.
Right, and everybody had the access to the same weapons and stuff like that. And as you got further along, you got a lot of aesthetic stuff. Like you got new armor pieces, you got new stuff like that. Stuff like that. So I think kind of it's holding people back. Like, I didn't really play a lot of Battlefield 3, and I wasn't never huge into the Call of Duty stuff since Modern Warfare. Modern Warfare was like the last one I played a lot. And this is why, because you have to invest so much time to get our money, to get to a point where you can enjoy it. Like I said, I'm not the greatest player, so for me, feasibly to get to a point where I have a chance is going to take a while.
Yeah, and then when you jump into the game, you want to at least have that experience to be enjoyable. And if you're just getting killed all the time, or just like you're totally outgunned, literally,
right?
It's not really fun.
And I'm the kind of person that I don't want to drag the rest of the team down. Like I don't want to be the one, 20 deaths and be like, oh well, we lost by 2 points if you died 2 less times.
Yeah.
So that being said, I am enjoying Battlefield 4 just because it has the whole vehicle aspect. So I think that's kind of its saving grace. The problem is if you get kills in the vehicle, it upgrades your vehicles. Yeah. So I'm like, man, I racked up all these kills in like boats and helicopters and stuff, but it's not doing anything for me overall.
That's another thing. Upgrading the vehicle. Say I stopped playing, or I haven't played Battlefield 3 in a couple months now. If I jumped in there now and played the tank superiority, my tanks would suck compared to everybody else's tanks in there, and it's like that really sucks.
Right.
So it's just another one of those little things where you have to be there from day one, or pay the money to get your stuff, up to par with everybody else's. And it's like a lose-lose. Yeah. Or a win-lose if you buy the packs. Or I think it's like $10 or $15.
I think it depends. Now you can earn the battle packs in game. It's kind of the same type of thing like Mass Effect was. After you played enough, you unlock a battle pack. So there are other ways to get them. But obviously, money is
Mhm.
the easiest
Yeah.
and quickest.
No,
way.
it's $20. I remember. I think it's $20 to get because it was $5 per class. So if you wanted all the weapons for all the classes, you could spend $20 extra.
I'll die repeatedly and get them slowly, and it'll be that much sweeter when I'm rocking that 50 caliber rifle with the 20 times zoom.
Yeah, I don't even think I got that weapon yet in Battlefield 3. No, I might have.
Yeah, I'm determined to play recon until I get something that's feasible to see if I can be good at recon. Because I was always a really good sniper in the other games I played, but of course it's different every game. Like the hit box and how they do hits and stuff like that. It's different for everything. So we'll see. But I think they need to change that going forward. Like
they need to go into the future and do another Battlefield 2142.
See, that was like the last one I really enjoyed. I'd say that as far as Battlefield, because I didn't really play 3. Like, I played the campaign and I played a few multiplayer, but I was like, it was the same type of thing. I'm like, I'm not going to invest the time in this, because I jumped into it later.
Okay.
Like, I jumped into it when, like, the 4th or 5th expansion, like, Aftermath came out. Like, that's when they gave it for free, so that's when I started playing it. So,
I remember.
Oh, well. All right, so that'll do it for the gaming portion tonight. I am going to play the outro because it's easier for me to cut it that way. And then we'll do the quick football thing.
Sweet.
Gamers Digest is a Spider One and Mr. Factastic production. All characters and games are owned by their respective companies and are used under the fair use law. Check out Gamers Digest at gamersdigest.me, on YouTube under Gamers Digest Podcast, like us on Facebook, and follow us on Twitter at The Gamers Digest. Viewer questions and comments can always be sent to gamersdigestpodcast@gmail.com. See you next week.